Moreno, Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley. We also welcome Julian Laurent to the show. And Jules, it's with you that we start because there are reports in Spain. The Madrid sports newspaper AS reporting that Real Madrid want rid of Gareth Bale. They've had enough.
Yeah, which doesn't really come as a surprise. We know how difficult relationship he's had with Zinedine Zidane in the past, and with Zidane returning to the club, that never sounded that good for Bale. However, his agent before said that he wanted to stay, that there was no problem with Zidane. Clearly, if as his writing is, because they've got obviously some sort of lead from the club. And again, it's no surprise. The big question really is, where will he go? That's the big question, because at his age and with the money he's on and the money Real Madrid will want to get for him, there are not many clubs who can afford him.
What clubs are we talking, Jules? This is the problem, isn't it? His wages are going to be a real issue if Real Madrid want to get rid.
Yeah, you're right, and especially for a player that's turned 30 as well, who has been a lot of the time injured, even in his time in Madrid, and has been on and off the field, despite some great moments as well, and has been really poor at other times. I think you have to look back at coming back to England for him. Obviously, I think the romantic story will be a return to Tottenham, which clearly they cannot afford, whatever way you're looking at it. Manchester United is clearly a club that could afford to sign Gareth Bale. Do they really want him at the club? Do they really need him as well? I'm not so sure. And then there's obviously, the issue with Paul Pogba. Could a swap between Bale and Pogba with some money somewhere going as well the other way be an option? That might be the best option right now, maybe.
Well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's focus, shall we, on Gareth Bale for now and where he stands in relation to other players and their world-class status. Because a couple of years ago, you used to say that Gareth Bale could walk into most teams. I think that would be fair. That conversation has changed now, hasn't it?
At the moment, yeah, because of form and injuries and whatever. I mean, when the guy puts his resume and lays it out, it's pretty good. Of course. Very good. However, he's been inconsistent at best and injured a lot. And as Jill said, at his age and his wages, it's going to be a big issue for him now. Look, I think there could be a case here. And I do think Zidane's gone in there and said to Perez, here's what we need to do in terms of purchasing, and here's what we need to do in terms of getting rid. But on the other side of the coin, Gareth Bale might just say, I tell you what, we didn't have a good relationship before with Zidane, but I'm going nowhere.
Right.
I'm going to sit here in Madrid because I enjoy living in Madrid. This is a great club. I'm getting paid fortunes. And if you don't want to play me, fine. But unless I get the move that I absolutely want and the money that I want, I'm not going to go anywhere. Now, that could be detrimental to his career. Of course it could. Well, it would be, particularly with international football as well, for Wales. But it might be a case where that's what he does. Because if United don't want him, Chelsea can't sign anybody, there's no room for him at Liverpool, and they're not going to go after him. And unless he took an almighty wage downturn, then he can't go to Tottenham. And that's unlikely.
How hard should United push for him?
I wouldn't be pushing if I was them.
Really?
This is not a guy that you... Listen, we all thought that with Ronaldo going, this was an opportunity to really see what the real Gareth Bale was. Could he take this team on his shoulders? And quite frankly, it's been an emphatic never, not happening, no chance. When a guy plays for Wales, different kettle of fish. But right now, why does he have to move anywhere? He's 30 years of age.
Right.
But Bayern ain't paying him that amount of money, so he's got nowhere to go.
Well, Bayern are trying to go down a younger path.
Yeah.
So that rules him out.
So where does he go?
A couple of different scenarios for Gareth Bale. You just asked the question, where does he stand in this world-class picture? And part of it, of course, as Craig just mentioned, well, yes, you have to produce consistently, but you also have to be available. Yeah. That's also part of being world-class. And that's also part of what we look at Cristiano Ronaldo, we look at Lionel Messi, that they're rarely injured, that they're always producing, that they're always scoring goals. And that's a standard that this guy was supposed to produce at. It was never going to happen. It didn't happen. And so, therefore, as it pertains to world-class, not quite there because you're not on the field to prove it. Because of that, if you're Manchester United and you have just gone through the Alexis Sanchez situation where you thought this is the guy that was going to make us a different team, an older star, a guy that now their legs are gone and it's not quite what he used to be, then you have to be able to learn from that and say, we don't want any part of anything similar to this because this didn't work. And now we don't know what to do with Alexis Sanchez. Nobody wants him. We don't want him. We don't play him. He's not doing anything on the field. I would not touch Gareth Bale. And then you change it to the part from Real Madrid. The perspective of Real Madrid is not only the fact that Gareth Bale has not been as good for you as you would have hoped he would have been for you. It's the fact that he doesn't even get along with his teammates. Yeah. So it's not only Zidane that it's an issue here coming back. It's also an issue that clearly there is a separation and there is a distance between the players and Gareth Bale. How he stays in that environment, I have no idea.
Now, let's be honest, Ronaldo timed this brilliantly.
Right.
Had Ronaldo left a couple of years ago, we might have seen a different story from Gareth Bale. You know, the shackles off.
Yes.
And it's been, don't get me wrong.
Plus, his supporting cast have been terrible this
That's
season.
my
as well,
point. A couple of years ago, this Real Madrid side were in much better shape. I think it's safe to say not even Ronaldo would have dragged them through this season, right? As good as he's been, or as great as he's been. So in terms of the timing, everybody looking to Bale in particular to pick them up by the coattails, and the whole team from the management through to the players have been a shambles, which he's been part of. So it's a little unfair to label him as he's just failed because the timing of it has been terrible.
Jules, you mentioned this idea, and it's been floated in the press, hasn't it, that maybe Bale could go to Manchester United as part of a deal that would see Paul Pogba go the other way. This, of course, has been coupled with the fact that it's the first time we've had you on, Jules, since Pogba came out and said he loves Zidane, he loves Real Madrid, it's a dream to go and play there one day. But if you're Manchester United, there is no way, is there, you're going to let Paul Pogba go in the summer?
No, and sources today were telling ESPN that they would reject every single bid that would come their way. However, dealing with Mino Raiola and Paul Pogba, if they really want to leave, it's a different story. And it's not the case for now. And Pogba also said that he was happy in Manchester. Where to go, obviously, but I'm convinced that one day in his career, Paul Pogba will play for Real Madrid. That might not happen this summer or the following summer, but let's not forget that his contract at United, and not too late, is still not so long to go. So he's in a strong position, Pogba, now to decide what his future holds for him.
This is the opposite of the Bale, isn't it? Scenario potential. And it's down to the fact that there's player and agent power now.
Yeah.
And there is so much money in the game that you're almost holding the club to ransom to a certain extent, because, as Jill said, if he's happy and he says he's happy, United can afford to bat off any bid. They've got enough money.
Yep. It's
down to whether the player's happy, down to whether the player can see what the management structure is going to be, and we don't know that. And then who are they going to bring in? There have been talks about Jadon Sancho, like Koulibaly from Napoli. Are they going to go big to try and get dominance again in England and in Europe? If they can convince Paul Pogba that, then they've got a chance. But if they don't, and he makes some waves that he's going to be a problem for them, then they've got a big decision to make.
It is a big decision. As Craig says, it's a decision that obviously wasn't around. Kind of in your game, you kind of have to, you have to treat Paul Pogba with kind of kid gloves and keep him happy.
This scrambles my brains in. Seriously, it does.
It's one of many things.
How the rhetoric today is exactly what we've just heard, that, well, if the player and the agent want to go, then they're going to be going. I mean, that kills me. We're seeing two opposite things here. We're saying that if Pogba wants to go, he'll be able to go. But if Bale doesn't want to go, Bale won't go.
Yeah.
I mean, the clubs have got absolutely no chance. What's going on here? This is absolutely ridiculous. A guy like Paul Pogba can just turn round at a club like Manchester United, who, by the way, have done every single thing to help this guy financially, you name it, and then he's just going to custard pie them whenever he fancies it, and he can just go. I can't get my brain around that. That is just completely wrong.
But it's already begun. Because on the press conference that he could have done a whole lot better job of deflecting it, and whatever question he was asked about going to Real Madrid, he's already flirting with Real Madrid, and he's already flirting with Zinedine Zidane. So you get a sense that here's a player and an agent that they know they're in a position of power, and so therefore, yes, we can send flirtatious messages across and see who picks them up. But clearly, it's to the point now to where it's not even like, well, there are many clubs out there that I would want to play for. No, it's Real Madrid, and it's Zinedine Zidane. Oh, wait, who just came back to Real Madrid? It's Zinedine Zidane. So you just have to put two and two together and say, I mean, this is more likely than not.
Just a reminder, if you ever miss a show, plenty of transfer talk, of course, to come, I'm sure, over the next few months. You can download our daily podcast, which is available on the website. Switzerland then taking on Denmark. What a match. This turned out. Really good interview with Harry Kane over on the website. In-depth stuff where he talks about the Premier League, ambitions as well, maybe related to NFL in the future. Tottenham fans will especially enjoy it. However, they may not enjoy what we have to talk about now, because it's interesting, boys, when you think that we've already discussed in this show Pogba and Bale, when they could go. We're going to talk a little bit later about Mbappe, Rashford maybe to Barcelona. Yet throughout all of these rumours and everything that's going on, no one seems to be in the market for Harry Kane, which seems strange because I think we've all discussed how he is up there as one of the world-class strikers. And I suppose the question is, if you're Harry Kane, when do you start getting itchy feet?
Well, I think there are teams that will be in the market for Harry Kane. It's just not been as public as others. You know, Harry Kane's not pitching up at every England press conference going, well, Barcelona and Real Madrid might be quite nice, you know, unlike some. So, you know, and I don't know who his agent or manager is, but maybe they're just keeping quiet and playing things closer to the chest. I mean, they're going to be interested in, you know, the big clubs are interested in Harry Kane, are they not?
Well, he could walk into any team, is that?
I think so. And when we consider big teams and teams that need a player like Harry Kane, at the top of that list is Real Madrid. So I know that Spurs fans get a little sensitive with this because they're saying, well, Harry doesn't want to go anywhere. He will never leave. Well, okay, maybe he doesn't want to leave. But if Real Madrid comes knocking, at the very least you have to listen. You have to pay attention. And if you're Harry Kane and you think to yourself, well, I would love to have been part of Tottenham for the rest of my career. But Real Madrid is an entirely different level. And it gives you a whole world of possibilities that, I'm sorry, but Spurs are not going to give you. And if that's what you want to do, and if that's what you want to achieve, and you want to get to a different level entirely, the path is somewhere else, not with Spurs.
You've got a loyal guy, you've got a home guy, brought up at Tottenham, the whole thing. But I think the main thing that Tottenham have is keeping him there is Pochettino.
Really?
Listen, if Pochettino went in the summer to Manchester United or Real Madrid or anywhere else, then you would see an exodus, and the first one out would be Harry Kane. Right now, he is completely loyal to Tottenham, but more importantly, I think he's loyal to Pochettino right now.
I think Daniel Levy knows that as well, doesn't he? If Pochettino goes, wherever it is, if he does go, it could fold like a pack of cards. I mean, that's a bit melodramatic, I suppose. But I mean, in terms of your key players, you only have to lose 2 or 3 big players like that. You know, an Eriksen, a Kane, an Ali. And
well, that's game over right there.
That's you're back into Europa League material. You know, you're getting sucked back into the Evertons of this world who are not having a great season. So, new stadium or not, by the way, it looks great. It looks absolutely great. But so did Arsenal's when they moved there. You know what I mean? So, it's not Tottenham, and you know, it's not. I don't think we're talking about this because it's Tottenham and he's not going to stay there. I think if any club in England, if you're at them and Real Madrid comes knocking and you're in your prime, I don't see how your head would not be turned. I don't care if you're at Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. Your head's got to be turned. You only got to ask Steve McManaman.
Sure.
Players like Michael Owen went out there. All these guys went out there. You know, Ronaldo left Man United for Juventus when he was going great guns at Man United. Why? Because he wanted to play on that huge stage at the Bernabeu.
Nice segue, Craig. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, speaking.
I can tell you, by the way, I had no idea I was doing that.
That was good. Because
Well, it's Manchester United to Real Madrid to Juventus.
Now, Ronaldo, of course, went off after half an hour in that draw against Serbia yesterday, and he came out and said, I'm not worried about the injury. I know my body. I believe that in no more than 2 weeks, I'll be fine. He's having tests in Portugal over the next couple of days. And the reason this injury could prove to be so significant is Juventus's aspirations in the Champions League very much rest on his shoulders. They've got Ajax in the quarterfinals in 16 days' time. The first leg of that tie. 6 days after that is the second leg. Craig, we heard from the boys yesterday. How significant is it just for those quarterfinals? Because they should be fine, shouldn't they? Without Ronaldo against Ajax?
I tell you what, it's significant if you're Ajax. You know, clearly. But yeah, I mean, if if this is a tight game, and I expect Juventus to go through. Most of us have got Juventus to go through. But if it is, something happens, and Ajax managed to conjure up a performance that did at Bernabeu, and all of a sudden it's tight, he's the game changer. So I don't know. I don't know if how long the muscle injury is going to be. 16 days. Did you say 16 days?
Yeah, 16 days till the game.
It's not a bad tip, but that clock quickly runs down when you can feel your hamstring and your muscle injury, and you're like, and before you know it, it's 10 days, and then your first sprint.
I'll tell you what, I wish I had $1 for every player I've coached that said, I know my body better than anybody.
Yeah, how do you deal with that as a coach?
He convinced me he wants to play and he's fit. I need to know from you, not him.
Well, they scan them, don't
End of story.
you? Can tell. Years ago, you would.
That was the phone, by the way.
I got the phone, Steve.
We worked that one out. Years ago, you would guess a little bit, but now they'll probably MRI it every day.
Sure.
So they'll get a good feel of where the tissue injury is. Getting a bit technical here, isn't it?
Well, Stevie's not a doctor or physiotherapist. That's what we learned here. Taking a look at the bracket for the Champions League. Just a reminder, it is Ajax against Juventus. Also, Spurs City, United, Barcelona and Liverpool. Porto. Those games start, of course, next month. Now, surprising front page in the Catalan newspaper Mundo Deportivo. Rashford en la agenda. Could he be going to Barcelona in the summer? This is new, Jules. We haven't heard anything about anything to do with Rashford going to Barca. Where's this coming from?
I'm not really sure where it's coming from, because they're also saying that trying to sign him would be like trying to date a supermodel or Cindy Crawford, which basically is impossible, or at least for certain people. That he's still under contract with United. He's got 2 more years with a third year in option as well. So it's not like if he was free or about to be out of contract at United. And also, I think everyone knows how much he loves Manchester United, which he's been there since he was, 7 years old. And how much he sees his future at the club as well. He's a key part of Solskjaer's team now and at the club, and an asset that they really rely on for the future as well. So this one really looks like completely mission impossible if Barca were really serious about trying to make it.
International
It is
week.
International Week.
It's International Week where newspapers just make things up because they've got nothing else to write.
And then
Listen,
we talk about it.
And then, oh yeah.
So we're even worse.
Listen, for all the points Joe said, he's a young lad, still learning his trade, getting more game time now that Mourinho's not there. He still is. I'm going to North London to Harry Kane. Now, if that was a headline, Harry Kane to Barcelona to potentially replace Luis Suarez, then I would buy it.
Yeah.
But I'm not buying this rubbish.
Welcome back, Tottenham fans, by the way.
Well, it's true. Well, you would, wouldn't you? If you want somebody to lead the line at one of the big clubs, it's Harry Kane. It's not yet Marcus Rashford.
Or indeed, it is Kylian Mbappe, who is continually linked to a move to Real Madrid. This won't go away, Jules. And what's weird about this is that he keeps... he said last month, he says, I'm going to be at PSG
for life
next season. Not for life. Next season, that is it. But AS, Marca, they just keep churning out these same headlines. But in France as well, France Football led with it yesterday. Why does this story not go away?
It's a very good question. I really don't know why, because the sources that I'm hearing for sure, I'm being told, is that there's no way he's leaving this summer. Like I said every single time on the show, he will one day for sure, 100%. I can put my mortgage on it, play for Real Madrid. This is his dream. He will play for them one day. He's only 20. He's got another 12, 13, 15 years ahead of him to realize his dream. And there's no rush for him. He knows that in a very similar fashion to the Rashford chat that we just had. He's a Paris-born and bred kid, PSG, his team, he's happy there. He knows that he needs to do more at that kind of level before going to the next level, which is Real Madrid level. And there's no rush for him, again, to go there. So he's not going to go this summer. He's not going to leave Paris this summer. But one day, he will for sure play there.
Best of International Week available on Friday. If you ever miss Best of Week, there's Sebi on Extra Time. With his chair. You can check it out over on the website. Czech Republic taking on Brazil today in action for you this weekend. It all starts on Friday. Toronto taking on NYCFC. Then 8 games for you on Saturday. It all finishes on Sunday on ESPN2 as the Galaxy take on Portland Timbers. An article over on the website entitled "The Game Has Gone," in which 10 things suggesting that maybe, finally, soccer is gone. Let's see if you're the 10, shall we? Branded cryptocurrencies, fans of phones at matches, goal celebrations on Instagram, players covering mouths, signs asking players for shirts, kits released for gaming, swapping shirts at half-time, mediocre players building a brand, corporate mascots and stadium luxuries. Damn those stadium luxuries.
Again, international week. I don't have a problem with any of these apart from the swapping shots at half-time. I just can't. I can't be abiding
Mediocre players building a brand. I mean, seriously, you having a laugh?
You okay?
No.
Are you going anywhere with this, Stevie?
No. Well, I will refrain from mentioning names. I do know a couple of names.
Right.
And the MLS,
yes,
who can't even get a game for their team, are trying to build a brand.
Really?
I mean, seriously, you can't get a game in MLS and you try to build a brand.
What's your response when they tell you they're trying to build their brand, Stevie? Back in the day.
What would it have been, or what would it be today? Today you can't do anything.
Right.
Back then they would have got a mouthful and told them to get out and get working on the field. Never mind building your stupid brand. Stupid brand. All you got to do is do it on the field. Do you know how you get a brand? By doing it on the field.
There you go.
That's how you do it.
Jules, which of those
What do you think Beckham did? How do you think Beckham got his brand? Because of what he did on the field to start with, right?
All right, Steve.
Do you want to hear any more?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Right.
Jules, which of those 10, if any, get under your skin?
Not so convinced about the Instagram goal celebration from Mario Balotelli the other night.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it, Jules?
Not. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was him and his teammates laughing. There was, at least when Totti took the selfie, there was the whole Curva Sud or Curva Nord behind him. That, okay, it's a bit different, but Balotelli and 3 or 4 of his teammates just celebrating after a goal like that, I was not, and to put it straight, as a live story on Instagram, I was not so convinced.
Meanwhile, if you ever miss Extra Time, or indeed Best of the Week, you can go over to our YouTube page. A lot of people going over there. Thank you for joining us there. And in case you've never seen Extra Time, wondering what it's all about, for example, in today's Extra Time, we'll be addressing the big question: what is Steve Nichols?
Get it! Get it, Steve!
I tell you what, that's a good way for you to diet.
I tell you what, you're not
Get it,
getting-
Steve!
I never got any of them.
Go on!
I never got one. I was starving after that.
There should have been a bud, shouldn't there?
Right, I got that.
Hanging off of
I
that.
had a few of them before I tried it.
Did you get any of that?
Never get any of them.
Just think, if you
It's
do
not as
that,
easy as you
if
think.
you put that on every night, the weight is going to drop off you. You
need
can
to
put
think
shepherd's
about
pies in it going round.
Oh, he'll get the shepherd's pie. Oh, he'll figure it out.
There are certain things I think I might try a little harder to get.
So be sure to check us out on Extra Time where we talk about those sort of things, plus answer your questions. We'll be back here tomorrow for more. Until then, goodbye. Teased it on the show, but in case you missed it, this was Stephen's weekend. Pretty much, what was this, Saturday and Sunday, Stevie, you spent with this thing on your head?
Saturday, aye.
Yeah, 24 hours. Now I went to bed.
If
Have a family get together.
if you're listening on the podcast, how would you describe this, Stephen?
Very difficult.
It's a crown with food attached to it, and you're trying to get it in your mouth.
Well, it's cheese and
Right.
strawberries and stuff like that. I'll tell you, it's hard. No easy.
No?
Yeah, I thought I was going to get a right good... but I never got any.
Moving on, Julian Laurent is with us, and it's the first time Jules has joined us since I found this from maybe his first appearance when we had Press Pass back in the day before ESPN FC. Jules very much going for the long hair.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Wow.
I don't know, Jules. What do you reckon? PSG Barcelona Champions League quarter-final. What year was that?
Would that have been the year where Carlo Ancelotti
To be
was
fair.
the manager and he was 2-2 in Paris,
Yeah.
maybe, or something like that? So that would
We're
be
in the same time.
2011, 2012.
Goodness, mate. You look much better now, Jules.
Hold on a
something like
second.
that.
Hold on a second. You see the state of your hair?
What do you mean? My hair's exactly the same.
Why are we talking about Julian and not
Put
you?
the picture back up.
It's exactly the same.
Never mind Jules, it's you. They stare at you.
How do you look at that picture?
Look at the
Look at
stage
that.
here.
that.
What's going on? You've got a hat on.
Tell you what, your dress sense hasn't changed. Look at that horrible shirt and tie and that jacket. Somebody take that man shopping.
No, wait, how did this get to me? Look at Joe.
Look at the stare at you.
Joe, it's all right. You look 17. You look
Tell you what,
17.
I remember that studio very well. Was that the one in? That was the one in.
It was here.
What?
That studio was here.
No, where Jules was.
Ah, where Jules was.
You giant great dope. The studio in London, because I used to share it as well.
Yeah,
I know what studio's here.
With Jules.
Well, with I presume Marcotti used to use that as well.
Yeah, back
That's
in
what
the
the
day.
smell was. Big sweaty thing in there.
Oh, right. What are Ali's thoughts on Venezuela's jersey situation yesterday? What was the jersey situation?
The jersey provider, the brand for the Venezuelan national team, I guess ran out of jerseys, did not have enough, so they went out and bought other jerseys, cut out the tags on it, and put a Venezuelan flag on it to cover it, and that way it would look like as if it was a Venezuelan national team jersey.
No.
It's embarrassing, is what it is. It's a step back, and it's something that I thought Venezuela was beyond and past, but clearly not, because we go from beating Argentina 3-1 to not having enough jerseys to put our players into. Embarrassing. Embarrassing is what it is.
Wow.
So those are my thoughts.
There's a few stories in the past when a team's going up and the kitman having to go to the shop to buy.
No, never know.
Right, good, okay.
No, well, we had to wear
what?
Coventry's kit.
That's the story.
Yeah,
I know.
we travelled to Coventry.
What did you bail him out for?
You know, he's having a bad day. Our kit man forgot the away kit.
So you had to go.
So our home kit, the kit that he had, clashed with Coventry, and Gordon Strachan was the manager, and he refused to switch.
Right.
So they gave us their checkered away
Wow.
kit, and we wore that, and we played like Coventry. Got beat.
Wow.
This is the sort of thing, sorry, because I'm actually bothered about this. This is the sort of things that if you pretend to be a World Cup team, you got to be a World Cup team in every aspect of your preparation, including, oh, by the way, having uniforms available.
Yeah.
When was the last time Venezuela won the World Cup?
That's a 0. So therefore, we're trying to build to that level.
Yeah, but you've
It's
just
taken a little bit longer than
Yeah,
it.
but you've just beaten Argentina.
Yeah.
Okay. Still a big scalp.
Yes,
And
it
then
is.
you're on a bit of a high,
Yes,
and then you pitch up, and there's no tops.
correct. Or the tops that are there are essentially pirated ones. Are just
Really?
yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Some bogus jerseys that showed up. Come on, man.
Why are Argentina so bad?
I don't know. I thought they were great, but Venezuela's better.
Messi.
I have no idea.
Is the Scotland international setup structurally flawed, or are the players just not giving their all? Am I being too harsh on the players, or about time the Blazers take some responsibility?
Well, listen, the structure at the SFA is a shambles. It's weak, and the whole thing needs a root and branch change. But
The Blazers will never take any responsibility, right? Let's start with that.
The Blazers and the men
The
in charge.
Blazers
SFA,
will
yeah.
never take any responsibility at all.
they've been hangers-on from the day that he played and I played.
Right.
Most of them. Freebie merchants. On the trips, on the away games, the Blazers. But in saying that, you know, there's a few players playing for Scotland now or in around the Scotland squad that seem to quite pick and choose when they want to turn up and play. And by the way, these players wouldn't even have got near squads of yesteryear.
Right.
They should thank themselves lucky they're actually getting a cap. The fact that they're throwing Scotland caps about like confetti is the reason. But, you know, some of the guys have been like that. Well, I had a few injuries at my club, you know, it was a qualifier, but I might give this one a miss. I mean, seriously. So when you've got that attitude, it doesn't help. When you're already up against the 8 ball with the players you've got.
Final question. Have you ever been starstruck by an opponent you played against or a team member?
No, couldn't give them.
No?
No.
Jeff Stelling, I enjoyed meeting when you introduced him. I got very excited about meeting Jeff Stelling.
You did?
Yeah.
You're going to explain who Jeff Stelling is?
He's a presenter of a very popular show in England.
On Sky Sports.
On Sky Sports. I grew up watching him. I loved him. I think he's a brilliant presenter. Great
And
at
I
what he does.
introduced you to him.
And you introduced him.
in Berlin.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Jeff was there.
Yep.
and he was on his own because the Sky Boys hadn't arrived. And I said, "Oh, here, Jeff, come and have a beer with us." And you come over, and you were like, "Oh my God!"
Yep, I trapped
And you then fawned over him for about 2.5 hours.
Poor bloke, yeah, I did completely. I was proper.
Ruined any chance you've got of taking over that show.
Well, that's all right.
when
Well,
Jeff
who would want to
retires.
do that when I'm here? Jules, what about you? Like interviewing people? Nay, obviously, you love Nay. Starstruck by him.
I interviewed Diego Maradona when he was the Argentina manager and they played France in Marseille, and that was, I have to say, that was something else. But I guess the big one was Kanye West. I interviewed Kanye West 4 years ago in London, and that was the weirdest, most incredible experience of an interview that I've ever done.
Kanye West.
What? Center
So
forward.
what was you
Play center
starstruck
forward.
about this guy? Why were you starstruck about this guy?
No, I
Was
was
it
not
Kim
starstruck.
Kardashian
It
you
was
were
just
more
an
interested
incredible
in?
experience. It was just, no, Maradona was far more interesting, and so was Zidane, for example, but Kanye West seemed to live on another planet than all of us. It was surreal, I have to say. It was incredible.
What was the reason that you were actually interviewing Kanye West? Jules?
The newspaper I work for here in London, the French newspaper I work for, also make me do other things than football.
Oh.
And they just
So, is
needed
that why you
someone
were
to
late?
interview
Is that
Kanye
why-
West, so I got a phone call.
So is that why you were seriously
No,
late
it's
tonight
not.
and you have kept us in this studio for a long, long time?
Yep.
Yeah. So why were you late?
I apologize again.
Why?
It was not the reason. That was not the reason.
So what was the reason? I'm only asking a question.
I was at a PTA meeting.
What?
No, Joe.
We were sat here. Okay.
Why did you say that, you fool?
We were sat here for 2 hours waiting on you coming because you were at a PTA meeting.
And what's your role in the PTA?
Yeah, I hope you're the chairman.
Yeah, what's your role in the PTA?
I'm not even the chairman. That's the only thing I would say. But maybe one day, I'm on the right path.
You know how we're saying whether the game is gone? The game is gone.
That's it. Should have got that.
That's it.
That was more interesting.
The game
as
is really
a
gone.
game's gone than those ones that were on the graphic. That
Joel's
somebody's.
going to a PTA meeting.
Yeah.
Starstruck, Stevie? Anyone?
I do remember once playing for Scotland under 21s, and we had a meeting together with the actual full international team. I was a little starstruck.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything, kept my mouth shut, and just kind of sat there like a wee boy.
Nice. For me, it was first time we played against Brazil away, and their starting 11 is coming out, and it's everywhere you see it. Rivaldo and Ronaldinho and Roberto Carlos and Cafu, and then after all of that, it's Ronaldo, and you go, yeah, we don't have a chance.
That's it?
I don't know if it was starstruck as much as it was, we have no chance.
But have you met Kanye West?
No?
No, there you go.
No, I have not.
I remember meeting the Ipswich team when I was a wee boy, and then I was a wee bit then. You don't think about Ipswich now.
Yeah.
Right.
But back in Mariners' day,
Yeah.
around about then, they came up to play a testimonial at Rangers for somebody, one of the Rangers players, and the full Boona came up with them, and Tyson and Muir and all that. And I was in awe of Tyson.
Craig.
Well, Tyson and Murin, people won't remember them if you go. They're absolutely fantastic Dutch midfielders that played, weren't they, Steve? Great.
Unbelievable.
Murin went to Man United off the back of Ipswich. Tyson was, I mean, to be fair, it was an unbelievable Ipswich team that Mariner played in.
Say what, he softened up quick there, didn't he?
Why?
You know when that question was thrown out, it was like, yeah.
No, but I thought, I initially thought the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I thought the question was,
And he was
are you
like, "You're soft."
in awe of somebody as a player?
Right.
When I played, I didn't care when I played, but when I
talk his way out it.
when I was younger, listen, your belly's rumbling.
That's it. Big decision I was having dinner. We've heard about this.
I think I pierced that.
For the last half an hour, I only
pierced the nerve.
stopped. No.
Definitely
Listen,
pierced the nerve.
no, I've got my soft side. You just don't see it. On the golf course, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Now, what's my big decision?
Yeah,
Am I
Stevie's
going
gone.
to stop for dinner,
Yeah.
get a takeaway, or go home?
Saying that,
Yes.
when you do your karaoke, right?
Yes.
Is there any resemblance to Kanye West?
No.
No.
Do you know what? I don't think I
Who
could
do you
name a
sound
Kanye
like?
West song.
No, why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?
Because it's just
Right.
not on my radar.
Somebody's
Who
heard you
is?
singing, right? Have they ever said you sound like
No, Stephen.
No.
Why are you bringing it back to singing?
Well, because
Just Kanye West.
there was a lot of disappointment on Twitter.
ESPN
that you
FC
did not take
returns
yesterday.
tomorrow.
Never even tried.
That's it. We've got no international football tomorrow.
Never even tried.
Jules isn't with us tomorrow. He's got
Dan
other
West.
things to do.
Dan West.
Well, if there's a journalist going to a PTA meeting tomorrow, he's off the show.
That's it.
It's done.
Off.
Bad.